This program contains language that is intended for mature or immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
Welcome in, everybody, to the second episode of your favorite podcast, Section 304. We are going to go around the horn a little bit here this morning and talk a little bit about yesterday's game versus Georgia Southern. And we got a pretty good show lined up for you here. First, one thing I forgot to do last week was I never introduced myself. My name's Anthony Lewis. I'm, I guess, the kind of leading this ship a little bit, and I have a little bit of knowledge of WVU sports. I've been pretty much a fan my whole life, and having a little bit of time working there at WVU with the Mountaineer Sports Network. So I stay pretty tuned in with the sports. But last week I didn't introduce myself, and then today joining me, is our buddy Diddy, who brought Miller Lite for everybody this morning at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I thought beers was necessary today. You got to celebrate that prison pounding we put on Georgia Southern last night, so let's do it with beers. I mean, I haven't got a lot of sleep the last 2 days. Let's crack them and get it going. Tomorrow's Labor Day, right? Right. I'm going to labor into these beers today, people. That's what I'm here to do. I'm going to labor into these beers.
And John Crum joins us. He looks so. First of all, and Cam McGrath.
Let's not talk about that little bitch.
He didn't even make
leave that fucking guy out. We forgot to take his blankie for him last night so he could sleep on the ride home. His terrible fucking playlist he subjected me and Crum to.
It was awful.
You would think Cam drove yesterday up and back, and you think Cam may have worked a fucking double on Friday, but wait, oh no, that was me, and here I am. So Cam, you are, without a doubt, a little bitch.
He's at home sleeping right now. So first of all, what'd you guys get into yesterday? Where'd you guys, how was your game day experience?
Down in the blue lot as usual. Very good crowd for tailgating. The weather didn't cooperate for a little bit, but that was all right. Still had a few beers. Got to tailgate with Diddy.
It was a fucking torrential downpour. I mean, my shoes and socks got wet. If you've ever been in the rain, there's nothing worse than wet shoes and socks. And you get that shit 5 hours before kick. You're stuck.
It ruins your whole day.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's awful.
I saw where it had started to rain, and I think I texted you guys, messing with you guys at one point.
Yeah.
Because it was sunny here in Charleston.
Oh, it was hot as balls up there. So, you're sweating. It's a pretty good Gold Bond day yesterday. Sweating your ass off, and then you get hit with this Vietnam-style rain where it's just blowing in sideways, and I'm standing under a tent to avoid it. So my shoes get wet, and then I make my break for the blue lot. I was in the light blue or auxiliary blue lot, so I wait the first rain out, make my move for the real blue lot. I'm 2 rows from where I need to be and under a tent, and then we just get hit with another huge fucking downpour. And now my shirt is soaked, my shorts are soaked, my socks, my shoes. So at that point, you just got to go to the cooler more often. I mean, that's what the beers are there for. And you grab some tailgate food and push through and got to get into the game, man. Time to support the team. Let's get it going.
I had my daughter yesterday, so we laid low, although we
only had 12.
Well, I think I had about 10 yesterday. Yes. But, when you're in company, it was kind of one of those, parenting by committee type things. There's like 5 or 6 kids and about 20 people around.
Like our backfield.
But my buddy Alan and Sarah, they've got the ultimate setup. They've got 5 televisions in their living room.
Yes.
Like a 50-inch in the center and 4 40-inch TVs around it. So there's college football. It's better than any type of sports bar setup
Yes.
that you can get into. So we spent our day over there, and
What did Alan cook? Because Alan is a man of the grill, and Alan usually has the good eats.
well, they're having a big cookout today, so we went a little light. We just had burgers, but Lou Bailey sent over these jalapenos with cream cheese and bacon in them, and I knocked about 6 of those back, and paying for it this morning. But
do you have heartburn?
oh, bro, I had it all. But they were fantastic. We had sausage dip. We had all kinds of food. That place is better than any sports bar.
Did Lou send the ice cream cake? That she makes the ice cream sandwich cake, because that shit is slamming.
That'll probably be today.
I'm hoping so, because I'm going to make it to Alan's today. I'm going to make an appearance. And Lou's ice cream cake, it's a layer of ice cream sandwiches and then some whipped cream and some ice cream sandwiches. Just banging. But let's get back into football.
So yeah, hell of a day
My first
yesterday.
year's almost gone.
I had a good day, and but an even better day was the Mountaineers on the football field last night. Honestly, I was kind of I was shocked that we shut them out. First of all, I thought for sure they would probably piddle around early and get a touchdown, and then maybe kick a field goal, and then maybe like a garbage TD. But a shutout for that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to go back to your 34-17 prediction, and I told you disgusted me and you were gross, and it seems I was right on with that, because here we are a week later, and we're looking at a 44-0 blowout, and I just want to say, 34-17 prediction, you gave too much credit. I told you would.
Well, I don't tend to overshoot predictions. I'm a pretty conservative, realistic predictor, but I honestly was really happy to see that they weren't even able to get the end zone.
I'm Captain Optimism. I don't understand being negative with the Mountaineers. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Well,
Eventually, they're going to let you down, so you might as well.
I think it comes from my background, being with the athletic department for all those years, and actually, win or lose, we lost some heartbreakers, so you just get back on the plane and come home. So I kind of turn that. I don't know if that fan part of me will ever come back, but that's why I think I'm kind of like that. But great performance by the defense yesterday. Let's talk about that first of all.
Jesus Christ. I mean, we have a man-child back there in Carl Joseph. I mean, we're talking about 3 picks, a fumble recovery, and just an all-around beast.
He had 8 tackles, too. He was all over the field.
What do you do with that guy? If he's not Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week,
he should be National Player of the Week.
We should make a trip out to the Big 12 offices and just, raid that bitch, because it's a travesty. Carl Joseph was a man amongst boys last night, and he was a one-man wrecking crew.
I thought, well, obviously number 8 was back there killing him yesterday. It was a hell of a ball game. But I thought the linebackers played well.
Kwiatkowski looked like Kwiatkowski.
Yeah.
He played extremely well.
And those guys, and if you watch, I don't know, because you guys were there, and I don't know what you guys got to see, but watching it yesterday, the defensive line was basically absorbing, and that's the way that defense is set up. Mm-hmm. They absorb the blockers and just free up your linebackers to go after the ball, and they did that. I mean, great assignment football.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. They were disciplined, didn't overshoot too much, and if you overshoot against a team like that, I mean, they can make you pay. And their running back Beretta, he's a big time player, and he didn't really do anything, so. I think you got to give the defense a lot of credit. Listening to Gibson on the post game, though, he said they had prepared for them since the spring. So I think it's great that they put in a game plan and completely executed it. I think that's good coaching. That's good leadership. That's a good sign all the way around. So
anytime you shut somebody out, I mean, anybody, I don't care who you're playing.
Yeah.
Shutout's huge. I think the defense is great, but like I told my buddy Dave in the stands yesterday, I said, you kind of got to look at it from the perspective of you're playing against a team with 4 new linemen, a second-string quarterback, and they can't really throw the ball. So I'm happy with that performance, but at the same time, I would have liked to have seen maybe a little more pressure on the QB. I understand they run the triple option. You don't get a lot of chance to do that. But I'm not going to completely jump the gun on this defense right now and say that was a superhero performance. It was great. But I also think if you're dealing with that starting quarterback, maybe a little bit of a different story, but we still get the win. But I'm certainly not going to take anything away from that D. That secondary was as good as advertised. Worley's all over the place. You got Chestnut, KJ, and KJ back there, and they were just killing it. So I like it, but I'm not going to jump the gun on them yet.
You're not going to see an offense like that the rest of the year. So you got to kind of compartmentalize this one, and we're not going to see that again. So
yeah. Did you listen to Dana at all?
I didn't. We didn't make it back to the car in time to hear Dana. We got, like he said, we got Gibby, and then we got Wolfley. We got to hear his portion. So we got Gibson and Wolfley, and then the radio station we had it on had some technical difficulties, so we didn't get the whole post game.
Well, Dana, I listened to it this morning, and Dana was raving about the defense. One thing that he mentioned was when he was on the headsets listening to Gibby make calls, Gibby was literally talking himself out of blitzing. And you have to versus that offense because you got to stay disciplined. You start sitting in the house, then all of a sudden they're just running wild. I mean, I think one time we bit on because if you watch it and go back and watch it today, they were just luring us to sleep. They kept handing the ball out the middle, and then they would try to sneak outside. But our guys were just staying at home. One time we didn't stay at home, and he busted one outside, but it was nothing significant. You going to open that?
That's two.
It was hissing in my ear.
Come on, Lou.
All right, let's switch. Let's talk about the offense because this is where we even got into some of the discussions here this morning. Personally, for me, I thought the offense looked okay. I knew they were going to come out and look vanilla. They weren't going to show you a whole bunch of stuff. And what we'll do is let's just break it down by position and discuss it a little bit. First, I don't think we don't even need to talk about the offensive line. I thought they played well. Except for that one fourth and short.
Yeah, God, they crushed his ass behind the line, man. That shit wasn't even close.
But I thought, on the passing plays, even when Skylar had to use his feet and move around a little bit, I thought they blocked well. And I'm going to go back and try to watch it again and look a little closer.
I looked at a little bit of it last night when I got home. It's kind of hard once you get home out of that car for 2.5 hours. It's kind of hard to decompress and go right to bed. So I looked at a little bit of it last night. I'm pretty excited about that offense. I would have liked to have seen the run game do a little more, but looking at the numbers, they did put up numbers. It just doesn't look that way when you're watching it from the stands. But the dude who got my attention is just, let's talk about that freshman, dude. Just long bomb on the first fucking series. Welcome to Morgantown, young fella. I can't wait to see that.
I tell you, Wendell Smallwood has a different gear this year. He looked incredible running. He really did, man.
I like him over Shell.
Don't give up on Shell just yet.
I've never been. I gave up on Shell last year. I was never really a Russell Shell guy.
Well, let's break it down by position. Let's start the wide receivers. Let's start with receivers. I thought my key to it was what last week? Shelton Gibson. I thought Shelton Gibson had to appear. I don't ever put too much stock in freshmen, true freshmen or highly recruited players. It's just me. The Jason Gwaltney experiment kind of ruined it for me, so I don't ever expect much. But I thought Shelton Gibson looked great.
Well, let me give you a stat line here, Lou, just in case you haven't seen it, because that son of a bitch appeared. He went 3 for 130 with a touch, and his long being 57. And I do believe he was overshot on a couple of balls where he was running, the corner route or whatever. And I think his numbers could have been more impressive if Skylar doesn't overthrow him a couple of times.
Well, and he got held in the end zone once too. I mean, I don't know what the hell the official was thinking, but that should have been another touch right there. I mean, the guy had him by 2 handfuls, as they used to say in junior high, had 2 handfuls of jersey and held him up. So he probably should have had another touch there. But how about your boy number 5?
Good God.
I was going to say, even when Howard overthrew those 2, they were behind the coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, you better respect those guys. You better have a safety over there because they can fly.
They're running free, man. Yeah. And he put that ball up. My brother was sitting with me last night, and he said, where's the freshman? I said, he's out left. Number 5, he's out left. Watch him. There's a guy who sits in our section, too. He and I were talking, and he said, what number is he? I said, he's number 5. About that time, we're down, midfield, and Howard unleashes that deep ball, and Durant just goes up and gets it. And I said, there's the future, boys. That guy is one bad dude. I said, he's going to be a fucking stud for a couple years to come. I mean, you're talking maybe one higher than Kevin White if he continues to play like this. And I just don't see a lot of people stopping him. I just don't. He's too fast. He's physical. He's big. I just don't see him getting stopped. But I love Shelton Gibson too.
All right. Well, here's the thing about this guy. You've already inducted him into the College Football Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Let's retire his jersey after the year because that's how high on him I am.
I like him. And one of the things I thought he's not Kevin White because he's not 225 pounds.
No, he doesn't have huge dreads either. But I mean, he looks
like a young Randy Moss up there. They said it on the broadcast last night. He's tall, he's skinny, and he's fast as hell. The key for him is going to be, one, obviously to develop. But as far as getting off the line, if they don't press him on the line, forget it. It's going to be Xbox City all day long.
Yeah, it's like Madden. That's what Crum was talking about.
The
First half
Madden
was Madden offense.
A 10-year-old playing Madden.
Just fucking chuck it deep, hold the triangle button, and tell him to go get it. Which, by the way, if you don't play Madden, the triangle button now makes your receiver go after the ball aggressively. It's Odell Beckham Jr. on that game is a stud. Just throw it up, people, if you're playing Madden out there.
I was going to say that getting those two guys involved early was key, I think. Got to get their confidence up. Show them that they can make plays, you know. I mean, we're going to need those guys to stretch the defense once we start playing Oklahoma and Baylor and TCU and all those teams. And the fact that we can build their confidence and show them that they can go make plays, I think it's great. I don't mind the deep balls. I was bummed out at first. I was like, what the hell's Dana doing? But you never know what Howard's going to do either. I mean, there's so many pre-snap reads with this offense, but I was really happy that we went deep, especially to Duron.
Well, he said it in his post game. He just said, obviously we're going to expect more from them than just throwing it up and go get it this season.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's the first game of the season. It's Georgia Southern. I mean, they can't cover them. They couldn't cover them, obviously. So why not just throw it deep, you know? And it worked.
You know, you said it's just Georgia Southern, but I got to tell you this. We had a group of guys sitting in front of us. I guess at Georgia Southern, there's a rule that your shorts can't come down past mid-thigh. These dudes are coming in yelling all kinds of shit about how they're about to take us to the cleaners and they haven't been beat, this and that, in so many years. And it was just, you should have seen the look on their faces when we planted that team. I mean, they actually turned around at the end of the game and said, this is really, really shocking. I did not see this going this way.
Well, they hung with Georgia Tech and NC State last year, and this was
that's not Morgantown at night.
Yeah.
So you boys go find some longer goddamn shorts and enjoy your ride back to Atlanta because we just gave you a prison pounding. That's what you received last night in Morgantown. You got a prison pounding, and, you know, we'll see you back next year if you want to come. Next time, wear some longer shorts. Nobody wants to see you fellas trying to hang brain up there in front of those old ladies. All right, let's keep it together, fellas.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk quarterback play. Obviously, for me, I thought, obviously at halftime, the party I was with, and you start getting a lot of text messages and conversation about Skylar Howard. He's overthrowing this. He's doing that. And everybody's an expert, of course, you know. But one thing you got to remember is this is the first time he started as the man. This is the first time he's playing in the offense geared towards him. Because last year he had to come in and play in what Trickett was doing. So now it's a little bit more designed with some rollouts, that type of thing. So, I mean, this is his first go as the man. First half, I thought he looked a little shaky. I'd probably give him a C, maybe even a C-. Overshot a couple of guys. But in the second half, he kind of just came out and put everybody to bed and shut it down. Made some good, nice first downs with his feet. I think overall, I'd probably give him a B- overall. I mean, he put up a lot of numbers, but one thing you got to remember before you go to town on him is you got to remember it's going to take time. These guys have not played together. This is Gibson's first start. You got a true freshman, and then you got Jordan. And we didn't even talk about all the other receivers who actually played excellent.
Jordan Thompson and Shorts had good games in their own right from the slot. They gave you about what you need, but I think those guys on the outside are just so overwhelming athletically and just head
well, it takes
shoulders
time.
above.
It's a timing thing. It's going to take
timing. He had a couple throws where he had no touch on the ball, but he can work that stuff out. I mean, I'm sure he was nervous too.
Yeah.
But he completed 64% of his passes for 359 yards. I mean, everyone needs to calm down a little bit.
Well,
he still had a pretty good game.
Back to that Xbox mentality. Yeah, everybody thinks you're going to come out and
fantasy football,
and just gun it. But if anybody throws for 350 yards, that's a hell of a day at the field.
He still hasn't thrown an interception yet.
Yeah, well, and even Dana said in his post game, he managed the ball, didn't put the ball on the ground, didn't put it in their hands, and they effectively moved the ball down the field. Yeah. I just thought that the red zone offense was a little shaky, but I think the
first night too,
ironed out.
The future of the Mountaineer quarterback situation came into the game in the second quarter with 8:59 left when Skyler lost his helmet. I'm not going to take anything away from Skyler's stats, but just letting you know right now, Willie Crest will, by the end of the season, be that guy, in my opinion. And so you got to see a little bit of the future in the second quarter with 8:59. Then he got in there in the blowout time. I thought he ran the ball well. He didn't throw the ball a lot, but what are they going to show? They're just trying to ground and pound and run the clock at that point. William Crest is my guy. I'm not going to berate Howard or any of that shit. I'm just going to say his numbers are good. His numbers spoke for themselves, but the guy's still overthrowing people, and my guy's wearing a 16.
It's the first game of the season.
My guy's wearing a 16. You'll never talk me into anything else. William Crest is the guy. That's my guy. That's my guy.
You are the... You're one of those guys that I saw posting on Facebook last night in the WVU, on the WVU.
I couldn't post on Facebook, Lou. My phone died. And I was driving. You don't text and drive. Don't be an asshole.
That's good.
I'll let you guys finish your Howard conversation.
Public service announcement.
I'm going to go get a couple more beers because these two are out. So you guys finish your Howard conversation. I'll be back when it's over.
All right. Well, I thought he played well. I can't imagine.
I tell you what,
I can't imagine him benching Skyler Howard because Willie Crest comes in mop up time and does some good things.
I think you could put Crest in red zone situations though.
But why?
To run the ball.
So you're saying what you're saying is
just a special package. Howard can run, but he's not as good a runner as William Crest. But I like what Howard gives you though. I think William Crest is more of a prototypical running quarterback, spread quarterback, where Howard has escapability. He knows how to extend the play.
I think they're both good, but I think for now.
Oh, I'm totally in on Skyler Howard.
I'm glad you're back because I sure as hell want to talk about our running back situation real fast. And then we've already blazed through half of the show and we haven't even got into a couple things. But let's talk about our tailbacks for a second. First of all, Smallwood. Man, he's night and day from last year.
He's got another gear this year.
Yeah, and the key to running back, playing that position, is hitting the damn hole. And he was hitting the hole, and he was getting the yards. My man Russell Shell, on the other hand, I was calling him fucking Michael Jackson. He's back there. He's a dancing machine. And I'm not trying to slag on the kid, but he's got to hit the hole. He gets back there and dances left and right, left and right. Watch him on film, folks. If they're listening in the locker room, he's going left and right. He's got to go north-south. And I think, and I didn't hear anybody mention it, but it seemed like after a few times where he didn't get north-south, they brought his ass out of the game and put Smallwood in. I didn't really see much of Crest in the second half. Or, I'm sorry, of Shell. I mean, did I miss it? I got to go back and watch the game.
Now you're thinking about Willie Crest, though. I like that shit. That's who y'all should be thinking about, my boy.
I'm not worried.
Let's say it again, number 16, the future.
I'm not worried about
16-5, baby.
Let's talk Shell. I mean, did he even play the second half, most of the second half?
I didn't see him do a whole lot. I can give you his final numbers. I know they weren't impressive.
They weren't bad. He averaged 5 yards.
Yeah, they weren't bad. You're looking at.
He had a TD.
My man had 8 carries for 42 yards and a touch. He's getting 5.3 per, but it's a very vanilla game for him. Like he's never. In the year and a half or the year and a game he's been there, he's never done anything that's had him stand out to me. Like, great backs like Amos and Avon have always done something. They've had a game-breaking moment that's changed it, made you think that's the guy. This guy's never done that. I don't buy into him.
I want to throw the gauntlet down to him if they're listening up there. Run north, south. Prove me wrong. I want you to prove me wrong. Because I'm not here to bag on kids that are wearing our logo and our uniforms and came to West Virginia to represent us. I'm saying run north-south. Prove me wrong, kid. Prove me wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Said he's more of a power back, and he should be running over people instead of what you guys are saying, just sort of dancing.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not bagging on the guy. Like, he works hard at this shit. He's there for a reason. He's just not my cup of tea at the running back position.
He also told Pitt to go to hell. So,
well, yeah. So that adds a star. Well, did you guys look at any of the other stuff in the Big 12? Any other games?
I saw Texas got pounded by Notre Dame. Kansas got beat by some low-level school.
South Dakota State.
They were down big, too.
I didn't get a whole lot of the other scores. I think I got out of the car last night at about 3:30. So I kind of looked at our game again. I didn't get a chance to look at a lot of the other scores. But I don't think it was a great day for the Big 12 yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you what. Kansas gets my ball sniffer award of the week. I mean, what a bunch of shit that was. Those guys are freaking horrible.
Is it time to just shut that program down and focus on basketball?
Is Charlie still out there? Is it still Charlie?
No, he's still getting paid, though.
Yeah, and from Notre Dame. And then Texas basically stunk it up, and I was hoping they were going to bend Notre Dame over and just shut my boy Brian Day down.
Notre Dame fans, dude, they're hideous.
I had Texas 8.5. Not a good bet.
So, well, as far as, night games, I mean, it sounded like it was rocking on TV. Personally, I've had a hell of a lot of good nights in Morgantown. Obviously, the older I get, I have to shut it down a little earlier. But night games, man, I've had some really good times up there. There's something different about a night game in Morgantown than a day game, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
The crowd was tuned up. There's no doubt about that. I mean, just over the years, let me tell you, I started going to games in '88, and I remember it was the '96 Miami game, which we won't get too much into the game, but I'll just share a little bit of when it's a night game and it's a big time game coming to town. And over the years, the big time night games have been Virginia Tech, Miami, Ohio State, LSU. There's been some big time night games. Even Rutgers, the year that triple overtime.
Yeah, the triple. That was a big night. But one of my favorite experiences, '96 Miami. At the time, I was working at this nightclub called Yancey's in St. Albans, and a bartender friend of mine looks at me and says, "Now, remind you, this is at 2:30 in the morning." He says, "Hey, let's go to Morgantown in the morning." I'm like, all right, let's go. So we jump in the car, drive our ass to Morgantown. We get up there, and this is the old pit. You guys remember the old pit? You know where the pit is?
Yes.
Well, it was grass.
Quinlan and McGrath used to take the kegs in there. That was a hell of a time. They had that when I was a freshman. I loved the pit.
But it was all grass, and it was kind of open season down there. So we parked down in there, and basically through the course of the day, it starts getting rowdy, and everybody's drinking. And next thing you know, somebody's on top of a car and takes a Miami Hurricanes jersey, sets it on fire. Well, that was like hitting the start button. So they burn the jersey. A mud wrestling competition starts out. My man Ted Evans from St. Albans and Brian Whittington are in a mud wrestling contest in the middle of the pit. My buddy and I, we get so tuned up, we don't even make it to the game. Like, I ended up going back to my buddy's apartment, this blue Aerostar Apartments, passed out, woke up, and there's like 8 minutes left in the game.
And this is the Miami game?
Yeah, the '96 Miami game. We're winning 7-3. So I go in there. Jeremy's in the other bedroom, passed out too. So I go in there, I wake him up. I'm like, get your ass up. We're winning. There's 8 minutes left. Let's go.
You didn't go to the game, did you?
We ran to the stadium.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we just passed out. We'd worked all night, drank all day. We get there, and I'll be damned, not even 5 minutes being there. Bloop, block punt. Miami runs it back.
Was that Tremaine Mack?
Tremaine Mack.
Fucking Tremaine Mack, dude.
I'm like,
and you know why Tremaine Mack blocked that fucking punt? Because we were winning when you were sitting in a bed watching the game, and then you got to go to the stadium and ruin shit, guys.
I wasn't sitting in bed watching the game. I was passed the fuck out. There's a little bit of a difference there. I mean, hell. But so they blocked the punt. We just walked back home, pissed off. Quite a night. Although I met one of my best friends in the world. She doesn't remember meeting me that night because she was face down in a puddle. I won't bring her name out on this one, but that's the first time I ever met her officially. But then we became friends later. But that was a crazy night in Morgantown.
I now blame you for that Miami loss because, see, I'm a man who believes in, if like Louisville, for instance, with the Pat White game where Pat White comes in triple overtime, I'm going to let you know, I left the stadium.
Well, that's over.
Stop.
Your story is over. I left the stadium.
I left the stadium. We're losing. I leave the stadium. I'm out by a trash can fire.
You're one of those.
With Andy Downey.
With some hobos.
Andy Downey and I are at a trash can fire with a TV set, and we start coming back. And somebody said, I'm going to go back in. I said, the fuck you are. You stay exactly where you are. They weren't winning when you were in the game. They're winning when you're out here by this dumpster fire with us. You stay here. We're going to keep drinking these beers. And look what happened, Lou. They won the game. So the Miami loss is now squarely on your shoulders. I blame you. I don't know if everybody else will. I blame you. But the greatest night game experience for me, Rocket Stadium-wise, unfortunately, it was an L. It was LSU. It was LSU. And I tell you, man, right before Mo Claiborne took that pump back and just sucked the life out of that stadium, that fucking place was rocking. That's the loudest I've ever heard that place. I think Stedman had just got a touchdown, and we're coming on to kickoff. That was the loudest I've ever seen that place. The whole fucking place was going absolutely ape shit. That may be the greatest atmosphere I've ever been a part of in Mountaineer Field night game-wise. But there's just something special about a night game as opposed to a day game. I don't know how to describe it. You just got to be there and live it for yourself. It's an amazing atmosphere.
I'm going to 2003. The VT game was electric, man. The stadium wasn't even full. That game was played on a Wednesday.
It was on Wednesday.
I don't know if people even remember that, but they were number 3. We were like 2-4, but we had just played Miami tough, and I think everyone, including Virginia Tech, knew we were going to kick their ass.
Is that the infamous pepper spray night?
Yes.
Jeremy fucking Cooper took some pepper spray to the face and vomited all over that field.
Oh, I took some pepper spray.
It's one of the greatest stories you'll ever hear. You got to hear him tell it. But the guy takes some pepper spray to the face. We finally all reconvene out in the blue lot, and his eyes are all red and puffy and shit. He took some pepper spray to the face, and I think he left a little piece of himself on the field that night. It's just unfortunate the little piece of himself was a pile of vomit.
Well, that was I was actually working at the university, and for those, and I don't even know if you guys realize what I used to do up there. I used to produce the video board. So I basically told the band when to play, the cheerleaders, and ran everything on the stadium vision. If you remember that night, they put down those speakers in the end zone. Yes. Only time we ever did that.
Yeah.
For some reason, the administration decided, hey, let's put some extra speakers on the field. And at one point, if you go back and watch the game, the official comes over and says, would you please turn off the sound amplification system? That was me.
Because it's a home field advantage, Pecker.
Well, what I was doing was I found this super low bass frequency sound.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I could feed it to the stadium, to the floor, to those speakers only. And it was the most obnoxious sound you'd ever heard in your life. So on third down, they'd come out, and I'd hit that button. Boom! And it was just like, you would only hear it on the field. It wasn't coming through the top speakers. And I'd do that as they were at the line, which was totally illegal. You weren't supposed to do that. But then that's when the official came over and said that. The fans couldn't hear it. So when they said it, everybody's like, well, it's us. And that was the worst thing they ever could have did for Tech. Because they made that announcement, and that place was just twice as loud the rest of the night.
You bring up that video board, and I got to ask my man Crum, because he doesn't sell with me. Crum, how fucking excited were you last night when they broke out that Matthew McConaughey, the chest pound from The Wolf of Wall Street? How fucking great is that?
That was incredible.
That may be one of the greatest scenes from a movie.
Yes.
McConaughey and DiCaprio sitting at the table, and he's talking about doing tootskis, and he starts pounding his chest. Ooh. And they got that now on the video board at Mountaineer Field, and it may have just made my night last night. That was the greatest shit I've ever seen. And I really look forward to that next week against Liberty.
That needs to be a thing. I mean, where we do the Seven Nation Army, that McConaughey and the chest pound should take place of the Seven Nation Army. Seven Nation Army's been there for a while, and every college does it now. It's kind of played out. I think we might be the only school in America who's got the Matthew McConaughey Tootski scene from the Wolf of Wall Street as a get pumped up situation. I mean, if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen it, how ridiculous that scene is.
If you haven't seen that movie, just look up Matthew McConaughey Tootski on YouTube and you'll find it. And then that's what you have to deal with now at Mountaineer Field, and it is fucking amazing. I love it.
Bunch of keyed up Mountaineer fans throwing Tootskis in the parking lot.
Well, I hope no one's using cocaine in the parking lot. That's illegal, folks. It's illegal. It's illegal. Don't do it. Stick with the beers. Avoid the Tootskis. Just let McConaughey handle that on the big screen. We don't need any coked up fiends running around the blue lot. There's enough booze going on as it is. Let's keep the cocaine in your cars. Leave it at home.
Well, we're going to head to a break. Before we hit that, I want to first I want to say thank you to everybody. We got a lot of feedback on the show this week. Some good feedback, a lot of good feedback. And we got a little, even the negative stuff. We read it all. And we appreciate it. And Durrett, as he cracks beer number 3 or 4.
I mean, what are you doing?
He's laboring.
I'm laboring over here. I'm laboring.
On Labor Day. But we want to say thanks for everybody that responded, sending pictures. And with that, we want to get into our Bear Wood Company Fan of the Week. And this week, it's Donna Williams of Charleston, West Virginia. Thank you, Donna, for sending in your lovely picture decked out in your Mountaineer gear at Mountaineer Field. You will receive a Section 304 koozie, which we expect you to proudly be drinking of next week at the Liberty game. And you will be entered to win one of those beautiful pieces from the Bear Wood Company. So with that, Donna Williams is our Bear Wood Company Fan of the Week. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Do you love West Virginia? Check out Home Furnishings by Bear Wood Company. Log into bearwoodcompany.com and put West Virginia pride in your decorating design. The Bear Wood Company, always home. For the best in vintage advertising signs, World War II collectibles, collectible vinyl records, and coins, check out our friends at Red Fox Antiques and Collectibles in Scott Depot, right off I-64, exit 40. This isn't your grandma's antique shop. This is a Mantique shop. For more information, check them out on Facebook or give them a call, 304-757-9589. The Dell Sparks Collection. Dell's documented WVU sports for over 30 years and features the greatest moments in Mountaineer history. Check out his magic moments from Major Harris, Pat White, Tavon Austin, and so many more. For all of your favorite Mountaineer moments printed and framed, visit DellSparks.com or give him a call, 304-296-6004. The Griffith Law Center, PLLC, a Charleston-based law firm servicing the entire state of West Virginia and parts of southern Kentucky, specializing in serious injuries, wrongful death, and wrongful termination. The Griffith Law Center. Now you have a friend that's a lawyer. Call today for a free consultation at 304-345-8999 or give them a visit on the web at protectingwv.com. For all of your web and graphic design, go with the best. Go with our friends at Loggerhead Designs. They're true graphic professionals. Anything from business cards to high-end websites. They can handle it all. The next time you need your ads to really pop, head over to loggerheaddesigns.com or call 910-541-0143. All right, everybody, welcome back to Section 304. And we are joined by former WVU quarterback, former Big East Player of the Year, Rasheed Marshall. What's happening, Rasheed?
Not too much. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, thanks for joining us. First, before we even get into last night's game, we've been kind of kicking it around the horn, and obviously you saw the game. We've been talking a little bit about quarterback play, but before we get into all that, we're not the picture of health in this room, so we need some good workout tips from my man Rasheed. What do you got for us? Have you guys seen this guy lately?
I saw that he's now featured in some ads. I believe it's a Dick's Sporting Good ad. And he also got into a close-off, pose-off down here with my man Josh Lewis on a runway stage.
I won it, too. Don't forget that. I won that contest.
I saw some video of that when they brought it back to the station. And I asked Lou, I said, dude, what are you doing? I said, that guy is a professional in the gym. I said, he's now paid to be a trainer while you kind of do it as your side work. I said, he's obviously going to destroy you in that close-off, pose-off. And, it looks like you've been putting in some work with the ads and everything, and it's congratulations on that and everything you got going on, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do it as a player back at WVU. And then as soon as I had the opportunity to get into it, once I was finished playing professionally, I kind of jumped right into it, and fortunately enough, it's been working out for me.
I saw that one video. How many when you did that box jump? How many inches did you guys see that where he jumped?
I think I've seen the video you're talking about.
How many inches was that? Because it was crazy.
It was 62. It was 62, and the thing is, I cleared it, and I've yet to go back and shoot for 64. I think I'm gonna try it again, maybe in the next few weeks, and just go straight for like 65 or 64 or 65 inches right off the bat. Like, don't waste no time. Get right into it and do it and get it done with.
And I often tell people, I'm like, Rashid's in such good shape. I bet you he could probably go to the combine and put up numbers and get redrafted. That's how in good shape this guy is. But well, first of all, what were your reactions and your thoughts about last night's game? Let's start with the offense. How did you think that offense looked for game one?
Yeah, well, I think obviously, first off, whenever you replace the quarterback, that's going to be the first thing that's looked at. And we all know quarterback is a position that is kind of highly scrutinized. It's looked at under a microscope. So everything that the guy does, the way he walks, the way he carries himself, all of his mannerisms, he's going to be watched. So one of the things that everyone wanted to see was quarterback play. I thought Skyler played really well. First half was, I didn't think he was really settled in at that point. Still made some big throws. I think throughout the game he just started to relax a little bit. At the end of the game, you look at it, you look at the performance, and you say they did a good job. He's going to have some throws that, he wanted back. He had a short out route to Javon Durant down in the corner that he missed on, which I'm sure, again, he wanted that back. But first game out of the gate, you're playing with new guys, new receivers, everyone's still trying to mesh and gel. I thought they did a good job.
And that's one thing that I talked about and kind of was explaining was first game jitters. I mean, talk a little bit about that. Your first real shot at it was at Boston College in 2001. Talk about that first game jitter, getting in there and getting your shot and what that feels like. Although you feel like you're prepared for it, what's it like to get out there that first time?
Yeah, there's nothing that can prepare you for it, honestly. It's just one of those things that you have to go through until you can actually experience. A coach can put you in a ton of different situations in a practice atmosphere. But again, once you get into that true game situation where you're in a stadium, there's live rounds going off, as Coach Stewart used to say, and the war has begun, that's the only place you gain your experience. And as much as you think you're ready, you're really not, especially as a young guy, because you think you're going to be this dominant player, and the game moves fast, and the only way to get in there and have that, or get that experience, is to have true game experience and just go through it week in and week out.
Hey man, this is Durrett here. I was just wanting to know what for you. I mean, you guys you were in the Big East back when the Big East was a pretty tough football conference. What's the one game you circled on your schedule all 4 years you were there that you just thought, man, I really want to go into this place and kick the shit out of this team and leave my mark and let them know I was here and let them know it's personal?
Right. Is this a trick question or what? I think this is Pitt, man, all the way. Every single year, Pitt. My hometown is Pittsburgh, so a lot of the guys who they signed over the same 4 years I was there, I know about in high school. I played against them in high school. My cousin was a starter on the defensive line, so there was a lot of different dynamics and small little tie-ins every year when we played Pitt. So, of course, that was the game for me that I looked at as, you know, if there's any other game that I play or I need to play well in and to have my best game, this is it every year.
And you bring up that the Pitt rivalry, and arguably one of the biggest plays in Mountaineer history, or at least one of the most exciting, that ball you threw to John Pennington. When you saw him lay out to that catch, man, how's that look from your angle, and just kind of describe the feeling? Because that was a holy shit catch to me. How that guy made that catch, just from your angle.
The thing about it, I didn't even know he caught the ball. I just kind of saw the crowd's reaction. And, I mean, John Pennington is a little guy for people who don't know. John might be 5'9", 5'10", somewhere around there. So he's a small guy. The guy who was defending him at the time was bigger. He was about 6'1", 6'2", whatever. However John did it, he made a great, play on the ball. He positioned himself to basically shield off the defender, make the guy the catch, and, from there, that's when everyone went crazy. But I didn't actually see the catch. I just saw the reaction of the crowd, and then from there I realized, I came up with the ball. So it was great to see it, especially after the fact. You look back on it. John's a West Virginia kid. He was a walk-on and earned a scholarship, so it's just a real good story.
Hey, Rasheed, this is John. I was going to ask you, we were talking night games in Morgantown. What was the rowdiest game during your career, in your opinion?
I would have to say we played Virginia Tech. That was in 2003. I think they were ranked number 3, actually. That game was an absolute blowout. We closed them out, I want to say 28-7 maybe, and that was probably one of the rowdiest nights that I've ever seen. That was a whole pepper spray, people jumping over the wall to get onto the field, and the police dogs were out. They broke down the field goal post. So that whole night was just absolutely crazy. The game in itself, actually, people like to say, oh, that game had to be one of the most memorable, but it really wasn't, because they came in, they were favored to beat us, but we blew them out, so it wasn't no real excitement to the game. It was just like the atmosphere of the game itself. We're like, wow, this is what they're bringing to the table, and we just ran over them like it was nothing. So the atmosphere that night was unbelievable.
You talked a little bit about Pitt. Talk about being from the city and playing and going to West Virginia. What was the reaction like from the people in Pittsburgh? Because I know a lot of guys, if they leave West Virginia and would go to Pitt or Virginia Tech, it's kind of frowned upon. So what's that like for a Pittsburgh guy to go to WVU? I know you did it. A lot of other guys have done it. Major did it. But what's it like to be the starting quarterback, and come back to Pittsburgh and beat down the hometown team?
Yeah, for me, it was almost a no-brainer. At the time, Pitt, it just wasn't appealing to me. And, it was always that one little thing lingering over my head is, will Pitt turn me into a defensive back? Again, I could have said the same thing about WVU, but there was something about West Virginia that it just sat a little more comfortably with me. But every year coming back, especially in the summer, there was a lot of love, I ran into people who gave me a little hard time, more of a hard time than others, but
right.
At the end of the day, I think I had a lot of support from the city. People knew me personally. So it wasn't true hatred, but just, hey, when the game comes around, we're going to root for our guys versus your guys.
Right.
But in the end, it was all fun.
Back in your time, man, when you were playing, who's that opposing team that talked just more trash and talked more shit and yapped more on the field before the game? And then when you got on the field with it, they really couldn't live up to the hype. What team would you say that would be? And what's the craziest shit you ever had said to you on the field, in battle? In play.
One of the biggest trash talkers was hands down D'Angelo Hall. I mean, this guy's mouth didn't stop from, kickoff to by the time they got into the locker room. I'm sure he was still talking in. But actually, in that same game in 2003, we ran a small little play fake, and I kept it, scored a touchdown. And he hit me about 5 yards late into the end zone. And I can remember Quincy Wilson running over, jumping into D'Angelo's face, and he's yapping. He ended up getting a 15-yard unsportsmanlike, but that was just the kind of player he was. Real passionate about the game, D'Angelo, and just mousy, man. It was almost to the point to where it's annoying. Sometimes you get a guy who, you talk a little trash, you're like, all right, laugh about it, it's fun, makes the game better. But he was truly just like annoying, like, all right, dude, shut up. Like, we know. Yeah, But
that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me coming from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they have some very good guys with them, but again, in the end, you look back on it now, it just makes the games a tad more fun and makes you step your game up, because you don't want to be a guy who falls short of it on the ends of a guy who likes to talk trash. So,
well, we'll wrap this up, but first, tell us what do you expect to see from our current team this Saturday versus Liberty? From what I've always said, that one of the important things is from game 1 to game 2. So where would you like to see this team grow for the Liberty game this week?
Right. For offensively, those guys just need to continue to execute. Those young guys are going to be riding high on confidence, but it's not going to be the same every single week. So the true challenge is when these guys aren't catching these long bombs every week or getting into the end zone, seeing experience, how are they going to react? So I think consistency is one. Continue to gel. We all want to see the run game get a little bit better. And defensively, those guys are stacked. We know they came out playing like a true unit, veteran unit. So more so just consistency.
Well, Rasheed, I want to first say thanks for coming on the show with us this week. For those of you guys listening here on the podcast, Rasheed's he's a prime example of a true Mountaineer. He comes back to West Virginia whenever he can. He does a lot of charity work here in the state and truly and genuinely loves the state of West Virginia and the people here. So thanks for coming on to the show, Rasheed. And I'll be in touch with you real soon. We got to get you down, to Charleston. Rasheed and I do some events together, and we usually have a pretty good time, but he's been busy with the radio gig he's got there with Metro News. But thanks for coming on the show.
Next time you're in town, man, if you drink, I don't know if you drink, a guy in pretty good physical shape like that, I don't know if you want to drop to my level. But if you drink, next time you're in town, brother, first beer's on me.
But, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for doing what you do for the people here in West Virginia.
Definitely. Anytime, man. I'm always here, man. I just want to let the people know out there real fast. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. We do a lot of different things during the season for the analysis of the games, and then with my Instagram, doing a lot of different fitness and workouts and 15-type games like that. So it's going to be fun for people to see. At Rasheed Marshall, again, Twitter and Instagram.
Very good. Very good. We will remind them to do that. All right, my man. I'll be in touch.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. That's Rasheed Marshall, folks, former Big East Player of the Year, former WVU quarterback, generally an all-around good guy. So, like you said, check him out there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. He's got tons of workout tips. He's got tons of football talk, and he's a good person to follow there on the web. Sorry. Well, let's wind this thing down. Show number 2. It's
my turn, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your turn.
It's my turn.
Let's talk a little bit about Georgia Southern again. And we're going to turn this over to Diddy for his weekly awards. So
it's the beer of the week. And my beer of the week goes to, obviously, KJ, Carl Joseph. 3 picks, a fumble recovery. You're leading the team in tackles. My man, you're just out there taking care of business. You're shutting shit down. You're handling it. You're a one-man wrecking crew. I'm impressed. But this week I told these guys I was going to do it. I can't do just one. I can't do just one this week because My man, Javon Durant. You're getting one, brother. The beer of the week goes to you, too. You and KJ, co-beers of the week. I made shot.
Durant old enough to drink?
No.
I'll drink it for him. Don't you worry about that. I'll drink this beer for him. I may shotgun these beers. I'm not sure yet. But Durant, my man, you show up first week in Morgantown, going deep on the first drive. I love it. Can't wait to see what you got in the future. And Carl, goddamn, I hope you end up in New York with Big Blue. It'd be great to see you roaming the field for my NFL team too, brother. Great games last night. Great experience. Can't wait to get back up there for Liberty. That's my beers of the week.
Well, there you have it, folks. I think if I was going to pick a beer, give out a beer of the week or pick a player of the week, I'm going to definitely give it up to number 8. This one's for you, my man. Hell of a defensive effort. And honestly, this is the biggest part to me. Listening to Dana this morning, Dana gives him a game ball, which Dana doesn't give out game balls. The guy turns around and hands it to the entire defense. So not only is he a hell of a ball player, but that speaks volumes as far as being a leader on that defense. So who'd you think stood out this week?
Tony Gibson, man. The game plan was outstanding. If I was going to give it to a player, though, I don't see how you could give it to anybody but Carl Joseph. I mean, 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, 8 tackles. I can't wait to see him play next week. He was all over the field, man.
Gibby, hats off to you, my man. Good game plan. They were ready. They were ready for it. And that triple option wasn't even a factor going into the game.
I think we held them to 195-yard rushing. And they averaged like 350 last year. So,
yeah, it's a good night.
That's a really good night.
And like I asked Rashid, and I'll start with you, John, where do you want to see this team grow this week to next week?
I would say more consistency on offense. I mean, the scoring 4 times, but 3 of them being field goals and then getting shut down on 4th and 1 is not going to get it done. But like Rashid said, it's early. The timing's a little off. We'll be more crisp next week, and I think we're going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about the offense yet, guys.
Did he?
I'd like to see the run game produce a little more. I think this team is set up to be a 60-40 run game with that many guys in the backfield. But at the same time, my biggest thing last night was I know he may have been nerves or whatnot, but you got a couple of guys out there running wide open. I'd like to see those overthrows and the missing receivers go away. And I think this team could be dangerous. Like I said, that team last night, they're not to be underrated, I guess. They're everybody's supposed to think they're great, but at the same time, I kind of look at that as a cupcake opener, and I take it for what it is. I figured we'd hang about 60 on them. We should have, had we not, like Crum said, settled for the field goals, had the 4th and 1 stop there. But I'm excited about it, man. I think you're only going to see more from this team, and I like the athleticism, and I love the defense, and I think I think the defense is going to carry this team a lot, and that's a good thing because that'll give Howard and those guys on offense time to work yourself into that rhythm so you can make some mistakes, but you can also trust those guys on defense to have your back and carry you. You're not, it's not one turnover is not going to kill you, so you kind of put it out of your mind and keep going. But I'd like to see that run game get a whole lot more steady and just let's get rid of those overthrows.
That's where it's at for me, the running game. Like I said, I'd love to see – I want to see Shell come out and just go off and prove me wrong and show me and us that that he can be the man. Because even like when he was coming out of high school and went to Pittsburgh, I mean, he was running – it just seems like he was running north-south. He was getting his yards, and he put up good numbers, but at no point yesterday did I feel like, damn, he's getting off.
Like I said, he's one of those guys that you look at his stat line, and, last year everybody says, oh, if he's healthy, he runs for 1,000. Okay, but I want you to look back at last year, and you give me one fucking moment, one shining moment from him where you get that, like, man, he really just tore that game up and made it his own and took it. He played well against Bama. But after that, I felt like he kind of fell back and he dances left and right too much. And, like I said, you can't take anything away from the kid. He's working hard, so I'm not going to belittle him or anything like that. I'm just going to say he's not my cup of tea. And I don't know that he's lived up to what you think. And I think every back who's ever been there, Avon, Amos, Quincy, they've all had that moment that you remember that they took over.
Right.
He's yet to have that.
We're waiting for it. Waiting for it.
I'll tell you another encouraging thing, just real quick, was O'Toole, the punter. That looks like 2003 when he got the moniker Boomstash. Last year he struggled a little bit. So if we can play field position with this defense,
Are you fucking talking punters?
I'm telling you, I think our special
Twice
teams
he
are
brought
going
up
to be
kickers
great.
in this show. There's 2 shows he brings up the kickers. But I'll give you Boomstash was killing it last night. I like it.
Hell's bells. Listen, no disrespect to my punter friends out there, but Jesus, we're not talking punters here. I don't ever want to see him on the field. Ever. Ever.
That's a good point.
Ever.
You got to flip the field sometimes.
Just sit there.
Let's close it with this. I bought a cooler with 9 beers. In this show, we've done 9 beers. This is a 9-beer day.
Already.
I mean, we're laboring here. We're laboring.
Well, listen, we're running out of time. Real quick, give us your Liberty predictions. Obviously, they don't mean a whole lot. I think we're going to smash Liberty. I'll give you mine real quick. Hey, my prediction last week sucked, so I'm going to go 48-7, West Virginia.
Ooh,
I think they're going to roll.
They're
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
I think the offense looked good enough last week, and the defense is obviously in the house.
Sure, you don't want to give me another 28-7 bullshit fucking douche prediction.
I'm going 48. I'm not going 50. Not going 50.
Not going to give him the 50.
Not going to give him the 50.
I'm going to give him 70. I'm going to say we score 70 this weekend. We pound this team prison style, even worse than what we just did Georgia Southern. Liberty shouldn't even be on the field with us. It's over. It's a wrap. Bring extra beers because this one's over at halftime.
John?
52-10.
Giving them the 50.
Half 100.
You got to give them the 50, Lou. Liberty doesn't count.
All right, I'll give them 49. 49.
Oh, Lou, get off your
49-7. All right, folks. Well, first of all, thank you guys for listening again this week. And don't forget to send in your pictures to get yourself entered into the Bearwood Company Fan of the Week. Send those pictures in to section 304wv@gmail.com, and we'll get you entered in. Donna Williams, thank you for sending in your picture. Be looking for your beer koozie.
Remember, look for us, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Section 304. Section304.com. You can also go there and listen to the show. We appreciate that first week of support. We love it. Thank you, guys.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.